Listen up, brother. It's me, the Hulkster. This week on Magazine Theater, we're taking a look at Wrestling World from 1996. And this thing's ugly. It's real ugly. It's uglier than my divorce. I'd rather listen to my daughter's albums than take a look at this thing again. But let's jump right into it, because I don't want to have to get mad and give anybody a leg drop around here. Just remember, say your prayers. Eat your vitamins. There's another one. Do your homework, maybe. Clean your room. Don't have sex with young girls in front of a hidden camera. Always check for cameras, brother, because what you gonna do when I run wild over you? Oh, this is a strong shirt. This is really high quality. I'm gonna leave a 5-star review for these shirt makers on Amazon.
You don't have to be a reader for Magazine Theater. Just follow along and I'll be the leader. From cover to cover and page to page, it's Magazine Theater. Check out the main stage.
Magazine Theater.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Magazine Theater. I'm your host, Johnny Williams. This week we jump into the world of wrestling with Wrestling World. This is from August of 1996. And this is an ugly magazine put out by the same people who did Tiger Beat and Teen Beat magazines. And I think another one, 16 or something like that. A bunch of teeny bopper magazines. And instead of little hearts and kisses, they got these badass stars all over. Shawn Michaels looks like a total goof on the cover here. That's just an awful picture. They really captured a moment there. He looks like a male stripper who's about to vomit all over the Bachelorette. And then look at the back. Look at Jeff Jarrett. It's like he works at the same club as Shawn. Who puts on an outfit like this to go wrestle some other guy? Sadly, my copy was missing the giant pull-out poster of Vader and the Ultimate Warrior. But I did get this sweet picture of Hulk Hogan and Sting after their first date. Right off the bat here, we're getting weird. This is mail-in fantasy wrestling. You fill in your made-up wrestler's name, you pick the moves you want them to perform from the list, and you send $1 for each of the magazine's wrestlers you want to face off with. You can even make up your own finishing move. I'm going to call mine the ripcord. You just grab the other guy's nuts and yank on them like you're opening a parachute. Now, I used to do this kind of fantasy wrestling back in the day when I was younger. The one I did was all online. I thought that was lame. I had no idea people were doing it through the mail. I know online you used to type up all the stuff you wanted your wrestler to say backstage to the other guy, and then you would submit that to whoever ran the league. They would type up all the matches and determine all the winners and things like that. And what did you win? Nothing. There were no prizes. Just some online bragging rights, which was a big deal, I'm sure. And it's definitely not the kind of hobby that gets you laid. I can tell you that. Here's a list of the top wrestlers. No idea what they're rating them on, but they've got Jake the Snake at number 26, so this list is bullshit. Top 3 all the time. We've got our letters from the readers here called Matt Mail. This one lady's looking for fans of the Steiner brothers to write to her. She says she'll respond to all letters that are sent to her. I can only imagine the kind of letters she got. Dear Susie, I like the Steiner brothers too. I like when they wrestle and they win the matches. I've included a Polaroid dick pic because this is 1996 and the cell phone technology isn't good enough yet for me to text you one. I'm sure you must have had some idea that your open call for letters would attract some perverts like me. Love, Rick Steiner. Stately States is a dumb name, and it's a section written by Stately Wayne Manor. His real name is Ernie Santilli, and is a well-known wrestling writer, but was apparently a pretty accomplished musician back in the day, too. So this guy's Wikipedia article is actually pretty interesting. But this article that he wrote about Shawn Michaels, not so much. 3 times the Weekly World News called him the world's most conceited man. And you can definitely get that vibe when you read the stuff he writes. It's like the ramblings of a madman, I want to read you a section of it. Michaels is a bicycle smuggler, a Persian rug, an after-hours trout fisherman. You don't need to be a fellow otter trainer to see that this guy has no socket wrench in his toolbox. Carries an umbrella in Montreal. Hides chimpanzees in his basement. I think he's calling him gay. I'm not sure what that's all about. But it sounds like something a coked up macho man might say backstage. Literally a list of people's names, ages, and home addresses. That includes 15 and 16-year-old girls. I'm not sure this shit would fly today. Here's a couple of the only decent pictures in the magazine. Got Stone Cold there looking cool. The Road Warriors there. I wish they could have wrestled with those spikes on. That would have been sweet. The ads in this magazine are almost entirely female wrestling and boxing videos. Leather and Lace Productions is a company that makes a bunch of those tapes. These things will run you about 40 to 50 bucks a pop. I looked this place up. They still have an active website. So I'll admit, I did go online and find a video of this and watch the whole thing. It's just what you would think. It's two naked ladies boxing each other. Now, it's not Holyfield versus Tyson with tits or anything, but it's two naked girls fake punching each other for about 40 minutes. They started fake wrestling at the end too, so that was a nice little bonus. And then even one of the girls got to plug her phone number for private parties at the end. I guess that's the prize for winning. This Brian Pillman article is the closest thing in this magazine to an actual story. It's about how crazy he is in and out of the ring. The writing's a little bit silly. I mean, the last line is, "He's illin' when he should be chillin'. Keep eyein' Flyin' Brian." This thing's written by Ernie Scantily, a.k.a. our boy Stately Wayne Manor. Why write under two different names for the same magazine? I'm starting to think this whole magazine is really just written by one person using different names. It wouldn't surprise me, actually. I mean, they probably took the photos, too. Anyways, this guy Brian Pillman actually did have a pretty crazy life, and he ended up dying of a heart attack in '97. Nice to see Little Richard making an appearance. I had no idea he was so ripped. Rest in peace to both of these guys. A lot of the stuff in this magazine is about trading tapes. This is where people can advertise what they have or what they're looking for. Then you have Takedowns on Tape, which is literally an article on how to use a computer to create a database of your wrestling tapes. Also, there's our Little Richard lookalike again, and some female wrestling movies. A whole page in a magazine dedicated to helping people make lists of their wrestling tapes on a computer. I mean, this is 1996. Computers weren't that new. Here's a profile of a tag team called Public Enemy. I'm not sure if they're aware, but that name's kind of already taken. Their backstory is that they're from the streets, and they beat people up. I love this. It says they're showing off their street fighting skills by hitting a guy with a trash can. You hit a guy with a trash can when you have no fighting skills. And more female wrestling and boxing. Giants just ain't what they used to be these days. I've read that title 100 times, and it still doesn't make sense. Yeah, I remember these ads. This stuff was all garbage. You can buy a cable box that'll let you steal cable. I wonder if that thing still works today. What am I saying? It wouldn't have worked back then. This company does it all. You can even get pellet guns and learn some top secret sex techniques. And now our big cover story. This profile on Shawn Michaels is a perfect example of the writing in this magazine. It's just like a fan rambling on about what they just saw on TV. So it'd be nice if there was some industry info, some insider information, or some behind the scenes stuff. Anything really, but it reads like someone reporting on what they just saw on a pay-per-view. The horrible photography continues, and hey, what do you know? More female wrestling videos. For the big cover story, I just would have expected more. Maybe an interview. I know this magazine wasn't probably big enough to get Shawn Michaels himself, but an ex-tag team partner would have been nice. I'm sure Marty Jannetty from the Rockers isn't doing much. Some chick that he banged in a Waffle House 5 years ago. I don't know, anybody. Somebody that knows him. His grandma. So kind of a letdown, but there's still some good stuff in here. Some odds and ends I want to show you. I like this profile of up-and-coming guy named Rad Radford. I've never seen this guy before, but there's a creepy caption. No wonder why he was called Cutie Pie. Oh yeah. Here's another young star on the rise, Andy Ellison. Looks like a big dude, and oh my god, look at that face. Yeah, good luck, buddy. Psychic Ron Bard was seen in Japan, and apparently he's one of the top stars in Japan, right alongside Madonna and Michael Jackson. Number 9, right above Demi Moore. So I looked up Psychic Ron Bard, and sure enough, he was a big deal at some point. It said he had some high-profile Japanese clients, and Brad Pitt supposedly hired him for some kind of psychic bullshit. His name sounded familiar to me, and he was on one of my favorite Comedy Central shows, Nathan For You. In season 2, he was brought in to find ghosts inside of a house. And who gets the last page? Oh, Mr. Family Man himself, Father of the Year, Chris Benoit, looking as crazy as ever. So this was an interesting magazine. Not great, not good, but interesting. It reminds me of those sports cards they used to have that were unlicensed, and so they couldn't show like the team names or logos or anything like that. You'd see Shaq in like some generic practice jersey. That's what this reminds me of. The photography is horrible. All the photos look like they're from sort of a backyard wrestling event or taken in some high school gym. I'm sure these photos were purchased from some amateur photographer or something like that. The writing is shit. There's no expert opinions or insight. It definitely seems like a magazine that was written by hardcore fans for other hardcore wrestling fans. It's definitely meant to serve a niche community, the community of wrestling fans that collects and trades old wrestling tapes and also jerks off to women beating each other up. So I paid $4 for this thing. I chose it at random, so I'm not too bummed about it. It had a nice nostalgia factor to it, so it was entertaining. I looked up some old wrestling clips on YouTube, so it was a nice trip down memory lane. Fun fact about August 1996, that was the month when Hulk Hogan, who had been retired for a couple of years and was now back in the WCW, he actually dropped the whole Hulkamania thing, the whole good guy Hulk Hogan thing, and became a bad guy. He switched over to Hollywood Hogan, and that's where the whole NWO thing really blew up in the WCW, and that started the whole big Monday Night Wars where the WWE, which was WWF at the time, and WCW both had their wrestling shows going head to head on Monday nights, and it was like that for many years. So it was cool to just pick a random magazine that happened to be during that time. Now this magazine did not mention any of that, but that's because they would have had to do some research or pull their heads out of their asses. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. It was kind of fun, and hey, for $4, not a bad deal. So that's going to do it for me in this episode of Magazine Theater. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, do whatever you got to do. Leave me some comments. Give me some ideas. What magazine do you want to see? I've got a whole stack of them ready to go. So no shortage of episodes, that's for sure. Check me out on Instagram, Magazine Theater Official. And hey, take it easy. Peace.
God, I look terrible. I look horrible on camera. Wow.